Crimes happen every single day, but we can solve them by applying science. A forensic lawyer is wisest and precise. His job is to collect forensic evidence permitted under the Identification of Prisoners Act 1920 or clues from the crime scene. Present those in court and fight the cases is what they also do. Genetic patterns and DNA profiling is the key to solve simple and complex crimes because of the uniqueness of only 0.1% of DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. Our DNA is stored in the nucleus of our cell. We inherit our genes, dominant and recessive traits from our parents, and phenotypes we have of our own. It is important to collect DNA evidence from a crime scene because the criminal can hamper the physical evidence but not the genetic evidence. Some limitations may be there, like if the criminal has a twin, then twins have the same DNA, but fingerprinting makes it easy as everyone's fingerprint is different even if they are twins. There are mainly three types of fingerprints: the arc, which is the rarest, the loop, which is the most common, and then the whorl. Serology. It is the study and research on blood samples found as DNA evidence. It is mostly where all the information is found, and there are even serology rooms in the lab. The tools which are used in collecting and preserving DNA evidence are personal protective equipment or so-called PPE kit, labels, tape measure, hazard warning tapes, container with fingerprint powder, fingerprint brush, digital thermometers, camera to record the scene and take pictures, plastic bags to keep evidence, magnifying glass, magnetic wands, magnetic powder. There is a certain procedure to be followed while collecting DNA fingerprints and other DNA evidence. First, the whole scene of investigation is photographed and recorded by forensic lawyers so that the evidence doesn't get erased in the next few days. Forensic lawyers then collect samples of blood, piece of cloth, saliva, skin, semen, hair, or any foot or shoe print, fingerprints, and sweat too. These samples go in the lab for testing and the DNA pattern is saved. After that, all the suspects are called to the lab and are forced to give blood samples. Afterward, both DNA patterns are compared. Then, the team of forensics see which DNA best matches with which suspect and then they are arrested. These procedures do have some limitations, like time plays a very important role. If DNA samples are not collected within 3 hours, most of the evidence is lost, though hair can be tested in 90 days. The sweat and saliva may evaporate with time and may be lost. In the recent case of Sushant Singh Rajput, the evidence has been lost and after 56 days, the case is given to CBI. The environment is another factor affecting the crime scene and may destroy the evidence. If there is rain, it will wash away the footprints. If there is wind, it will make the sweat evaporate. So it is very important to cordon off the crime scene and use protective sheets and gears to save DNA samples. In many cultures and religions, like in Muslim religion, there is a consideration that if anyone from their family gives his or her blood to someone, something bad will occur in their life and to their family, and even their strength will be lost. So at times, a forced action is needed through the intervention of laws. Political influence is a big problem, as many strong politicians customize and influence DNA evidence and result through their power and position. In the Sunanda Pushkar case, it is assumed that politics influenced all the investigations. Even the DNA technology regulation bill has passed in 2018 only. Another political hindrance comes when a budget is required to spend on DNA labs. An average lab costs more than 3 crore rupees and the government is not ready to give a budget to it. In India, there is only one proper DNA lab, which is in Hyderabad. The lab costs so much as it has a sample chamber, SEM images of hair, test firing gun, and the study is called ballistics. There is even a serology lab, DNA profiling center. Science sometimes morally becomes a limitation. If in a crime scene the most DNA of a person is found and he might not have done a crime, he will still become a suspect. Morally, the investigating officer is wrong, but scientifically, he is right. DNA identification helps us to build a social connection, like child swapping and abandoning children. If we look into the case of N.D. Tiwari, in 2008, Rohit Shekhar Tiwari filed a case claiming Tiwari to be his biological father. The DNA results released on 27 July 2011 confirmed that Tiwari was the biological father of Rohit Shekhar Tiwari. DNA collection is ethical or unethical can be debatable, as in India it is unethical and illegal to push a DNA test to a person without his or her own will. A forensic team has an exception here, and the team can take permit from the court to take person's DNA test under the Indian Evidence Act of Section 112. Despite these challenges, forensic science should be the area to be invested in. It plays a major role in investigation and solving crime. The government must give a budget to set up a DNA database that will definitely help in the future. And in the times of artificial intelligence, where a person would be easily identified by the uniqueness of DNA. Thank you.